about now. Oh, hang on. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Has it just
Yeah.
stopped? Can you?
Yeah.
Oh, he's alive. Oh, he's everybody. He's gone live and he's tried to do something and it's backfired.
I don't know if we're even if we're recording now because
We
it's
are
saying that.
recording and it says
Yeah, we
live.
are. There's a recorder.
Oh, how embarrassing.
Hang
What's
on,
he done?
hang on. Let me just delete something because it's saying I've got enough memory on me.
And it is definitely live because I'm watching it on YouTube. The sound and
Oh,
everything.
yeah. Ooh.
Yeah.
Do we look good?
Just bear with me a second, everybody. This is a set. I've tried to do it again, and it's gone up. It's gone. All right, let's just try that one more time. Are you ready? So let's see if I can do it.
You can't erase that because it's just gone back. Oh,
Yo, it's been a rob, we're hitting the scene. From the
not playing
couch
any
to the
music?
track, chasing that dream.
I
And the
can't hear the
Brummy
music.
lad with the accent flair. Rob's the tower
Can you hear the music?
Stokey with the fitness to spare. Started on the sofa, now we're breaking the mold. Lacing up our trainers, let the stories unfold. From injury
working.
circles to the runners high, we faced it all, now we're aiming sky high. Couch to coach, we're on the move, sharing running tips and the latest groove. Join the journey step by step, with Ben and Rob you'll find your pep. Rob's powerful stride, though he once took a hit. Goose blue knee couldn't make him quit. Ben's got the charm, though his arms might slip. Together they inspire with every quip. From Birmingham streets to Stock's green lanes, we're conquering miles, embracing the gains. Whether you're a newbie or seasoned pro, tune in weekly, let's get set, go. Couch to coach, we're on the move, sharing running tips and the latest groove. Join the journey step by step, with Ben and Rob you'll find your pep. So hit that play button, don't delay. With the Couch to Coach crew, you're on your way. From the first mile to the marathon's end, let's run this race together, friend.
And we are live, I think.
we definitely are live. And I watched
I'm
the whole
alive.
thing on YouTube.
Totally live.
I genuinely could not hear anything. All I could hear was you two, like, not talking, but I could see Louise dancing. I could hear you doing something. I don't know. Anyway, and we are live. We are live
you-
on YouTube.
Hey, before we go, are you okay?
Yeah. I don't
seem
know
a
what's
bit-
gone on.
You
I'm
seem a bit
flustered.
nervous tonight.
No, I know. I don't know why. I'm a bit flustered tonight. I don't know what it is. This computer, I told you, this computer, I need a new one. That's what it is. It's a laptop. I'm blaming it on the laptop. A bad tradesman always blames his tools.
You're normally so slick.
I know. Normally. I think
Louise,
it's
I do
new.
apologise. It's not normally like this.
Don't worry. I'm like this all the time.
So we are here with Louise Butcher, aka the Topless Runner.
Yeah.
Before we came onto the podcast, I said to her, I'm surprised that you've got a top on because I have only ever seen you on Instagram, on television, on interviews without a top on. And that normally would sound really, really weird because I'm talking to a female about not having a top on. So,
Yeah.
And you now wonder why we don't get many women on this podcast.
Yeah, we do struggle to get women on the podcast just purely because I'm crap with all the tech. So, Louise, introduce yourself because we are live on YouTube and we have got a few people watching. I know there's been a few comments, probably about me messing up again the intro. So, just introduce yourself to us, please, Louise.
Yeah, so I'm Louise Butcher. I run around topless. I did the London Marathon topless 2 years in a row. First woman in the world to ever do it. And by the way, I didn't ask. I just did it. Can I just ask who wrote that tune?
So it was Ben's mate.
Oh,
Sam Reed.
it was a mate.
So yeah, so
No.
it wasn't me. He is a mate. So
I just
Sam
did it.
wrote.
It's like everything in this world today. It's AI generated.
It is
Louise.
AI generated.
Is it? Oh,
Yeah.
It is.
What you know.
Unfortunately.
It's good though, isn't it?
It's brilliant. I literally can't stop thinking about it in my head.
It's catchy. It's
I
catchy.
might have to do a remix.
Julie Marie.
do one.
Is that the Kettle?
Julianne Kettle, yeah. So we are thinking, we've got a couple of the snippets of the songs, and we are thinking of making an album. So maybe in the future we
Yeah.
could do an album of the Couch to Coast crew. So anyway, where were we? Back to the podcast.
Oh yeah, sorry.
So you've ran London Marathon twice,
Yeah.
topless.
Yeah.
So explain to people that don't know about why you did it topless.
So it would have been 3 years ago, April just gone, I was diagnosed with lobular breast cancer, and I had both my breasts removed. And then I mean, that was horrendous. I don't want to go too much into that. And then I started to find out that there was quite a lot of shame around women not having reconstruction. And I didn't want it because I'm a runner and I wanted to run, and I didn't want to go through invasive surgery, and it's a longer procedure, and sometimes it goes wrong, and I don't want implants. So I was fine with staying flat, but I did notice that there was negativity around that. And I wanted to find out where that came from. So I thought the best way to find out where it came from and let's change a little bit of the perception of it was to just start running around topless, really. And it kind of did its job, because I've been doing it for 2 years, and it's kind of gone all over the world, and it's changing people's perceptions of what it means to not have breasts. And the pity that I thought people felt about a woman who'd lost her boobs is flipped with the running, because the running is strength, isn't it? And discipline and power. So it's kind of like when you're watching a runner, you're like, oh yeah, I'd love to run. Oh, look at that. They've got this discipline, and then you see the scars, and it's kind of like, well, I can't really feel pity for that woman. And that's kind of why the marathons came into it as well.
I mean, it's incredibly brave to take that first decision to do what you did. Can you take us back to that moment in like making that decision, but obviously that first run?
Yeah.
Can you remember the feelings around that?
Yeah, I can remember it. And it didn't feel brave in the slightest, because I'd been through a cancer journey. So if it had been, I can't explain it, but if it had been just from before the cancer journey, which wouldn't have happened because obviously I would have had boobs, that would have been massively brave, because my fear level would have been lower in a sense. But when you go through cancer and you have all these appointments and you don't know whether it's spread, and you have to go and be told these things, your sort of bar of fear becomes really high. So everything else is below that. So then the whole sort of running topless was nothing compared to it. So I didn't feel brave. I felt like empowered in a way. It was like as if I was sort of going on this warrior journey, sending out this message. So no, I don't remember feeling nervous. It felt like it was something that I had to do, and it needed doing.
Yeah. Like you said, I remember I've seen you on This Morning talking to Kat Deely and Ben Shepherd, and you talk about men do it routinely. They go out. You watch somebody in High Rocks, for example. There's not many people with t-shirts on.
Well, no, they don't wear tops. No.
So,
and that's the thing, and it's looked upon when men do it, especially in sort of like athletics, as like strength and power and sort of, you know. And I just thought, well, that's a really good way of showing off in a woman, because you're taking away this sort of pity and this, oh, I feel really sorry for her, she's not a woman anymore, but pushing it with the strength of a sort of an athlete. Because I'm not an athlete in a sense, I run really fast, but it's a discipline, isn't it, to run 26.2 miles. So whether you're running it slow or fast, you're still doing it. So yeah, it was kind of like, that's where the whole marathons and the toplessness came from. Rather than just, I do training runs topless all the time, but rather than it just being like a 5K, it had to be about the discipline as well, and the strength and the resilience of being able to do something that hard.
Louise, can I ask, like, you obviously were a runner prior to cancer, and obviously deciding to take this decision. Has your running changed in terms of the fact that this now, because of maybe the kind of awareness that you're raising, has that changed because of the accountability side of things? So has it impacted your running in any way?
No, because I wasn't really a runner.
Okay.
I only started running, I would say, consistently and seriously about 4 years ago. I sort
Okay.
of did it on and off, but it
Yeah.
wasn't like anything serious. So I was never really. This is another thing about the moving on without breasts, was I was never a marathon runner with them. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like I'd evolved into something else. But when I did run with them, it's way easier without. Put it that way. As a woman, it's so much better because you don't have to. I used to get like the nipple chafing and the banging around, and even if you've got a sports bra, you've still got weight there. And I've got to admit, when I run now, I feel stronger. I feel less vulnerable because there's nothing junking around. And it just feels more powerful. I don't know. Not that I want to be a man, because I don't want to be a man, but I can imagine like with the men, and now I'm trying to get like muscles in my stomach, and it's all about muscles there now. And that's really sounds like I'm trying to be some kind of male, but it's not. It's just like, it's actually quite nice not having these things banging around when you're running.
And your mentality seems to have shifted as well, in terms of like you even speak about yourself as not being a marathon runner prior, but now
Yeah.
you're doing more in terms of running topless to raise awareness. So what I'm saying is your running volume maybe has increased, or you're now doing more of that through the enjoyment of raising the awareness, right?
Yeah, and the running obviously needed it because I had mental health issues. And now like when people say, how do you fit it all in? Well, I kind of fit my life in around the running, because without doing that, I can't function. And it's took me sort of 50 years to figure that out because my life was always a bit of a up and down, and what the hell's going on, and lots of issues. And then the running sort of manages it. So yeah, the running has become a massive volume because it has to be.
Yeah.
And as well as that, it's also empowering others. So it's like a win-win.
Yeah.
I couldn't ask for better than the running to be all these things for me now.
So you've talked about that you're trying to raise awareness around cancer, and trying to raise awareness of double mastectomy and running topless, and you've got that attention. You've got the
Yeah.
attention. You've been on this morning. You're on Instagram, and you've got quite a few followers, a couple of 7,000 followers.
Yeah.
Has it all been positive? I can't imagine that has there been many trolls?
It's not all been positive, but it never was meant to be.
No.
Because I knew when I went on the journey, it was about changing sort of the perception. So I knew there was a stigma. I would have said it's sort of always been around sort of 75-80% positive, and then 25 sort of 30% negative, but not in a troll way. It's usually said in a way that it's just the way that people can't perceive it to be right, or that's not right what they'd want to do. I mean, there has been some awful comments, but I don't feel like I'm being trolled. It's not like that. It was always about the arguments and the discussions and the way that people see different, because everybody sees things differently, don't they? So it was about maybe putting people in other people's shoes, rather than it being about this is right and this is wrong, this is black and this is white. It was kind of about mixing everything up and making it visual. So rather than it being in everybody's head and them thinking it, you could see it. So you could see the comments, you could see the stigma, you could see where it came from.
So what is next for you? You've done London Marathon, and you've got a Guinness World Record for the first person to run it, a female to run it topless. What's next?
So what I'm going to do next is in the next sort of year, this year is quite full now, but 2026, I'm going to kind of do European tour. So I bought like a motorhome. This sounds really mad, but I'm going to take it around and do some marathons, sort of like Paris, bits and bobs in Europe, and then take on my social media with it, sort of do runs in bits of different areas. And then the year after, I'm going to start doing like the world ones. So it's kind of about taking it everywhere. I mean, I know I've got lots of followers all over the world. Like on Facebook, I've got like quite a few in Canada and Australia, and it's already there, the message. But it'd be really nice to go there and do it. And obviously, the running is just going to be an ongoing thing. I'm not going to stop ever, because I know if I do, and it's just not going to be good for me, my mental health. So I've got to keep running. Even though I enjoy it, it has to be part of what I am now.
Yeah. And you talked about it on the video when you said you were coming to speak to us.
Yeah.
It's because of your ADHD. So have you recently been diagnosed with ADHD? Because I know that Ben, we talk about ADHD quite a lot, and we talk about mental health a lot on the podcast.
Yeah.
I'm a mental health nurse by background, so I work full time as a mental health nurse. Ben has recently been diagnosed with ADHD as well.
Yeah.
So is it a recent diagnosis for yourself?
So actually, it's my children that's been diagnosed, but they are like me, so I'm on the waiting list. But
Okay.
it's really obvious that it's because I kept what was funny is my eldest son was firstly diagnosed with Tourette's syndrome, which is like tics.
Yeah.
And we thought it was Tourette's, but it was ADHD with tics. Then he got diagnosed with ADHD when he was about 10. Then my daughter got diagnosed last year. And I kept saying, well, they haven't got this from me. It must be from my husband. But I was sat there going, oh my God, you're just like me. That's what I do. Oh my God, I've got OCDs. Oh my God, and then it just and all this stuff that they were doing was just, and it was just so obvious. And all the friends and all the people that I'd mixed with throughout my life had been diagnosed or were neurodiverse, because you obviously gravitate towards. So yeah, it's not like on paper, but it's just, I think, when your kids have been diagnosed and you're just like them, that it's there. So yeah. And that sort of really answers a lot of the questions I had throughout my life with my mental health as well, because I had anxiety, health anxiety, eating disorders, all sorts of literally looking for dopamine constantly. And then the running obviously was part of that as well. But that manages all I'm not on medication because I manage it with the running. And yeah.
Yeah, I think in terms of what you said there, and it is very relatable, like looking at my daughters, it was very apparent. I actually remember thinking back to when she's 6 now, but I remember thinking back to when she was probably about 3, 4, and I just turned to my wife Rachel and said, that kid's got ADHD. She doesn't sit still. She's just constantly doing something.
Yeah.
And then 2 years later, through our own mental health battles, thinking that we were just suffering with a bit of burnout, bit of depression, anxiety with Rachel, it actually turns out that recently as November that we both got diagnosed with ADHD.
Yeah.
But it's those things that I think at the time, like it things happen for a reason.
Yeah.
And I think, your own story, things, ideally they wouldn't happen, but things happen for a reason. And obviously it's very much a stoic way, I think, of trying to kind of only being able to control the things you can control. And I think you're using your experiences to do something fantastic, like raising awareness, changing perception. And I think it's a credit to you that you continue doing what you're doing, and you've got those plans to, go on this world tour in a motorhome. I think that's fantastic. But do you see you're training topless, or you're just doing races?
No,
so
I train all the time. Yeah, topless.
So I can imagine this thing, like you go to London Marathon, for instance, like you've got lots of people in different costumes. We had a guy on the other week that dressed in a trainer, and you've got people doing amazing things for charity. So what you're doing, it's not seen as normal, but I guess on the scene of the London Marathon, it's closer to perceived normal. But where are you from?
So I live in North Devon.
So North Devon, a lady running around topless, just doing a 45-minute easy run.
Yeah.
That obviously is again one of those things, like we refer to the fact that it wasn't an act of bravery. So in your mind, this is just normal, but to other people, maybe on holiday or who aren't on social media and don't know the media, do you get people stopping you and asking you, or how? No,
it's very strange, because when I'm out running, no one ever really stops and speaks. They might actually message me afterwards, and they'll say things like, so say I run a lot down the main road, especially when the tourists are down, because there's always a queue of cars. I do that road a lot on purpose, so that the people in the cars will start talking, because there's so many people that have messaged and said, you got me to talk to my 8-year-old son about breast cancer. You got me to talk to my mother who had it 20 years ago, didn't want to talk about a mastectomy. So it's kind of like, whether or not they agree with it, it gets them talking. So I think that in a way is more, it's more important to me than doing the London Marathon, in a sense, because it's like you say, you don't expect to see it when you're going down to the shops on a Sunday for a paper or something, this topless woman running up the road. It's always, what's that about? It's always a shock. I mean, to be honest, where I am now, it's got quite normal, because I've done it for 2 years. So a lot of people who are on holiday here know who I am. So it's kind of like, oh, there's Louise. It's kind of, it's normalized.
And you mentioned your kids. They're 10.
Well, Oliver is now 14 and
14.
Pollyanna is 8.
So what's the sort of feeling amongst your kids doing that, if you don't mind me asking? I mean,
no, that's fine, because they inspired me to do it. Well, actually, It was Pollyanna, because when I was diagnosed, she was 5.
Yeah.
So 5-year-olds are a little bit black and white, aren't they? They're just, this is how it is. And she asked to see my scars quite early on. And when she saw them, she was a bit like, oh, I thought they'd look worse than that. I think kids, it goes in their heads, doesn't it? Things are worse. There'd be blood everywhere, must have been chopped off with scissors, all that stuff. And then so when I showed her this sort of line, it's a bit red at the time, it was just a line. She was like, oh, right, okay. And then I thought, oh, wow. And then that was the end of it. Whereas I imagined if I'd have been I don't want you to see it. No, and I'd shown anxiety, that would have really scared her. Yeah. So that's another reason I do my running. And I have actually run past families who've hidden their kids' eyes from me.
Really?
Yeah, not many. And I felt sorry for the children, because when you do that, you do create the anxiety in them, because they probably would have seen it and gone, oh, she looks happy, she's running, she's all right, she's strong, she's running. But they'd created that. And I felt sorry for the children as well, that they didn't get to see and ask questions, which is what kids do, isn't it? They always just want to know. They're curious.
They're inquisitive, aren't they? And I think that I've got a 6-year-old, so my son, he's very inquisitive, and he will go and ask people about their skin color, about a disfigurement, and people will talk to him about that because they're used to that. Yeah. So I don't discourage that, because he needs to learn that people are different and about equality and diversity, because he is going to grow up in a world where you are going to see people that have disfigurements or different race or different sexuality or come from a different background. So I think it's always good that they are inquisitive and they are asking questions, and 9 times out of 10 the person that he's asking are always happy to speak to him about it.
Of course
I think there's that thing that nothing bad can ever come from talking really about something, because I mean a personal story really is my mum about probably 15 years ago had breast cancer and had a mastectomy, and at the time growing up it wasn't something that we spoke about between me, my mum and my dad as an only child, and it was, I was aware that it happened because I was there while she was in hospital and stuff like that. And now as a 38-year-old, and my mum is turning 70 in a couple of weeks' time, being, she's unwell for other health reasons, and my dad's her carer. But there's been times where she's gone into hospital, and now we openly talk about the fact that, there's like little jokes. Oh, you need to adjust your boob because she's got a replacement, like a bra that holds it. And now that's kind of the way that we have that kind of emotional connection now. Yeah. But looking back on that, I think you look at it and think, I only wish that we'd done this sooner. And that's, I think, the thing that people need to be encouraging is to open up and have conversations with their children, like you said, at a younger age, because it is, we need to make sure that things do become normal for whatever reason somebody needs something talking about.
And what is normal anyway? What is normal anyway?
Well, no, there is
exactly.
No
there is no normal.
Yeah.
There's
wrong phrase.
There's nobody in the world
Yeah.
That is normal.
Yeah.
Especially me, and especially you, Ben.
Yeah, you couldn't even press a button on a recording.
But yeah, it is.
There's no normal, there's no abnormal.
No, I always felt like the anxiety came from the hidden always in anything, isn't it? It's not just in what I do, it's in anything. If you hide it, it will create anxiety within you because it's just your imagination. Everybody's imagination will fill in the blanks. And you can't fill in the blanks when you see someone running down the road with their scars out. There's no blanks to fill, is there? It's there.
Yeah. And like I say, it encourages people to ask questions. So that 6-year-old that you're running past, why has she got no top on? They might not even notice that you've got scars.
Probably not.
They'll just notice that why is that lady got no top on? And that can start the conversation of, well, it's okay to do that. And then you're like with Arthur, my son. So when he was younger, this is something that is nowhere near on the amount of what you're going through yourself and what you've done yourself. But he wanted to go to a party dressed as Elsa. He went to his cousin's party, Princesses and Pirates, and he wanted to go as a princess.
Yeah.
And some dads would say, no, you're not doing that. You need to go as a pirate. You're a boy. You're a boy. But I didn't want him to grow up not understanding that you can do whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
So I said, yeah, absolutely, you can go as a princess. So he went as Elsa, and I knew that there was going to be people there that are in the older generation, that are going to be judging a bit like, why is that kid wearing an Elsa outfit? So I dressed up as well, and I went as Elsa. So me and Arthur both went as Elsa to a party, and I got all the questions, and Arthur just didn't get any questions from anybody, to take the emphasis away from the fact that he's dressed as Elsa, and this 6'6" monster of a man with a hairy chest with a bald head is dressed as Elsa. So I got all the questions, and that's what I want Arthur to be when he's older, is just to be inquisitive, to do what he wants to do, to dress up as he wants to do a job that he wants to be, to do whatever he wants to do. So I think it's really important. The thing that you're doing is a really important factor in that. So,
and as well, it's also about, like you were saying about that, it's like being your authentic self, isn't it? Because I think I think everybody goes through it. When you're a child, you are yourself, aren't you? 5-year-old child running through the playground, and then the schools and all the other things make you conform, and you kind of lose who you are, and you become this sort of like cocooned sort of person and then you get to sort of like late 40s, and you're like, what am I doing? What have I done? And I think that's what happened when I got diagnosed with cancer. It kind of like shocked me into this. What have I been doing? Because you go on this sort of treadmill of, I'll get a terraced house, and then I've got to get a detached house, and then I'll surround myself with all this stuff, and then you're like, what is all this? What is this? What are we doing? And then it kind of all just falls away when it's your health, and then you realize what's important, and that's when it kind of changed my mindset, which. Then, because it changed my mindset, the anxiety and everything else and all the social norms fell away as well, because they're total nonsense.
And a lot of people say that they're scared, like having cancer.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you survive the cancer and you come into remission and stuff like that, it does change people in a more positive way, because they have faced something that could potentially end their life. They change the way that they see things, the way that they want to live their life. They make decisions that they probably wouldn't have made ordinarily in a positive way, like yourself, just doing what you want to do and raising awareness. So I think it's massive credit to yourself for doing it. And you're bringing out a book, I believe, Going Topless.
Yeah, it's out actually. Well, it's out.
It's out. Okay.
A book. For anyone that doesn't know, it's a book, not a book.
Is it a book or a book,
It's
Louise?
a book.
Oh.
Well, it's not. It's right. So it's the launch date is on the 26th of June.
That's what I've
seen.
But
you can pre-order, so it's out on Amazon to pre-order, and it's in Waterstones on the website to pre-order, and all the bookshops you can pre-order it in. And then the launch date is on the 26th, which is at Waterstones in Barnstable. And that's pretty much kind of like, it's kind of the journey from like the breast cancer to the marathon, but it's got a lot of stuff before that as well, which will help and inspire people in other trauma. Not saying I've been through a lot of trauma in my life, but when I actually looked at the list, there was quite a lot gone on. But I think that's to do with the ADHD and the impulsiveness and the not really knowing what my mental health was doing and other things. So it kind of is one of those books that it's hard to read, but it shows that, you know, if you've got determination and you can fight stuff and you just keep getting back up, you can achieve. So it's got that hope. It's not just trauma and, oh my God, kind of goes up and down, to be honest.
Yeah. And
And
it's available to pre-order, did you say?
You can pre-order it now,
So
yeah.
we'll put the link in the bio. For the people that are watching on YouTube, go and buy it now. If you're listening on the podcast, we will put the link in the bio so you can go and find and get it ordered.
We're talking about inspiring and people watching on YouTube. We've actually got 2 really lovely messages come through. Emma Bridges, who is an avid listener of the show, says, "Hi Louise, what an incredible woman. My son Oliver is almost 14, so similar to your Oliver. I've just taken my phone into him and we've watched together chatting about how brave you are."
Oh, how sweet. Oh, thank you. I love stuff like that.
And then we've got Carly Chorner. "Louise, you are such a cool and powerful lady. Very inspiring listen," which is great.
And we've got Julianne Kettle has said, "Absolutely amazing for you to change people's perspective." Or awesome, which is it's absolutely amazing. And I think being on, I watched the video of you on this morning. You were so excited that you're actually able to speak about it.
Yeah.
Because it's the raising the awareness. How mad is that you were on television, on ITV at prime time, speaking to Kat Deely and Ben Shepherd.
Totally topless with my mistake. Do you know
totally topless? Yeah.
So it was like, that was 2 years of hard work. I mean, I don't know, people might think that, you know, I run around topless. It's really hard. I do not the running's easy. It's all the other stuff like the emailing, the socials, the sort of the PR that I've done all myself. And all that stuff. And I'd emailed this morning so many times. I was like, I've got to come on this show. I know this platform will be so empowering for the people watching it. And I never heard back. And I was like, all over. They must have got so fed up of me. And then, and I did it throughout. Everybody did it to Jeremy Vine. I did it. I mean, I must have sent hundreds of emails. And then it was really strange because I did the London Marathon last year. And they got in touch and said, "Oh, we'd like you to come on the show," and then never got in touch again. So I don't know what happened there. And then this year, just before I did the marathon, a lovely guy called Mark Passmore said, I'll take some pictures of you down at Saunton Beach and I'll see if the Times will do a story, because he works with the Times. And he did some amazing pictures and he got it in the Times. And as soon as it went in the Times, it went this morning, got in touch. So I think there was a producer in the Times that worked on the show. And that's when I think it kind of went up that level. And they were like, well, if it's been in the Times, even though the Times didn't show the scars,
didn't they?
I think they were starting to think, she's ran the marathon, she's going to do it again. You know, I think this is all right to do.
Yeah.
Because obviously it was the first for them, wasn't it? And they had to worry whether it was going to offend, whatever. But I think it was just the best. I was so proud of them to do that, because it took some guts to do that. But I think it paid off, because I mean, I think it had about 4 million views on their little thing. And it was so positive, the comments. So it was brilliant.
Yeah, it definitely was. And I've watched the interview, and the one good thing, the one thing that I've took from it was that you were really excited. We also talked about, somebody has said to you, if I had my testicles removed and I wouldn't run around with my testicles hanging out. But then you were saying, well, it's their genitalia, and breasts aren't genitalia, aren't they? They become sexualized. But they're just breasts.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
That's what actually, you know, when you said about the negative comments, that was one of the. Over the 2 years, there's always been certain comments that keep coming up, not by the same person. It's just there's only so many things you can say, and it's one of them is always about the testicles. If I had testicular cancer, am I going to run around without my pants on? And it's been said hundreds of times. And I just think, we are not listening in biology at school. Seriously, what were you doing? Because it's not the same. And even if it was, there'd still be things hanging around. And it's just really odd that people say, it's as if they say it because they don't know what else to say.
Yeah.
And they just say something because it makes no sense. But that made me laugh. And what was really funny about that is when I was talking to Ben and Kat, obviously they didn't. They had an idea of what we were talking about, but if you haven't had anybody in the show, you don't really know what they're going to say, do you?
No.
And I remember when I said, and the one about the testicles, and I could see him going, "Oh no, what's she going to say?" Like, "Oh no, she's talking about testicles," and I was like, I brought it back though. Oh my god, it was so funny.
talking about a topless lady talking about testicles at 11 o'clock in the morning.
Really wrong, and they could have been thinking, "Should have done this. We should not have done this."
But it went well, and
It went well, yeah.
it's raised so much awareness, and
Yeah.
you continue to do that, and we will keep an eye out for you wherever you go to. If you ever fancy coming down to Stoke in your motorhome or
Yeah.
Birmingham, let us
And do
know.
a run.
Yeah, if you want to
Down,
come and do a run, up. Yeah, I'm rubbish with
to Stoke.
geography.
Stoke
Yeah,
is where Alton Towers is, isn't it?
Yeah, close to Alton
Yeah.
Towers.
So when
Yeah.
I used to live in Rochdale years ago, when
Okay.
I was 18, I came to Devon, and it was about an hour on the motorway, Stoke, before we got there.
Yeah.
It's about an hour down, isn't it? Hour down
Yeah.
the motorway.
Yeah. So if you're ever coming up towards
Yeah.
Stoke or Birmingham, let us know, and we can come do a run with you. I'm not getting topless though.
No.
I won't go topless. I won't go topless. We had Steve Melling, who is a guy who he's a recovery runner at Liverpool, so he set up a running group in Liverpool, and he did for the whole of, was it January, February?
Whole of January, yeah.
Whole of January, he did a topless run because of the
Oh,
cold
really?
weather.
Yeah.
To raise awareness and to raise money, and then he did ultras and all sorts of different things, and he wanted us to go and run topless.
It was about positive body image, wasn't it?
And about positive
Yeah,
body
yeah.
image, yeah. So I suppose, like you say, things are changing in society. Things are changing, and the social norm, so to
Yeah.
speak, is shifting. And I think, like you say, as long as we can empower our children to ask
Yeah.
questions and to do what they want with their own lives, I think
Yeah.
it'll only continue. So
Yeah.
In terms of obviously continuing the message, have you contacted schools about it? Because I work in schools with children doing athletics and raising awareness about physical literacy and health and things like that. Do you think that there's a chance that you could get spoken in school assemblies, or do you think the schools will be like, we're not doing that? Because I think that would be the next big positive step, isn't it, about educating kids?
Yeah, I think you're right there, because when I first started, it wasn't long after I'd started. I know it was just after I'd done the first London Marathon, and a head teacher from a primary school got in touch with me and said that she'd done an assembly about me to like the primary school assembly. So yeah, and that was like, wow, that is brilliant. Because I used to be a secondary school teacher. I was a music teacher. So yeah, I do think that would be a really good idea, especially with like the sort of the secondary age. I mean, primary is brilliant, but you know, when you come up year 7, 8, and 9, when they're all a bit sort of worried about their bodies
and their bodies are changing,
and the whole sort of like, you know, I've got to look like this, especially with social media. I think that'd be a really good. I think both primary and secondary would be amazing.
I think the thing is, isn't it, like you're doing so much to change the perspective, but if we're honest, we're changing the perspective of adults because adults are so set in their way. And I think with anything that we're trying to do in the world at the moment, the target really should be the younger generation, because we're then educating people for years to come. So it's just
that's totally right.
a thought.
Yeah, no, that's a really good idea. And the thing is as well, like with the adults, is they are initially, if they are looking at it in a negative way, the ones stopping the children learning, like those, you know, the parents who covered the children's eyes, or they're saying, so yeah, if you can get to the children, because I get that a lot. That's another comment I get. You're going to traumatize kids, which is totally not true, because I don't know one child I've traumatized, and I've run in front of many of my friends' kids. They've been at the end of my runs, and none of them are going, "Oh my God, mummy," and start, you know, they don't burst into tears.
I think often people use their children as an excuse to say that please don't do that around me. You're going to traumatize my children. And actually it's not. It's because the adult doesn't want to see whatever it is that they're saying should be protecting their children from. So I just think a massive credit to you. I think you are very inspiring, as we've had with the comments already, and everything that you're doing. Just continue to do it because it's brilliant. And 26th of June's the day before my birthday,
Is
so
it? Oh.
that could be a shout to go out and get a new book. My ADHD doesn't allow me to finish many books though,
Well, no,
so
but
I might just buy it
you
anyway.
might just buy it. And it talks about ADHD as well, because obviously.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
Massive thank you for coming on, Louise.
Well, thanks for having me.
It's been brilliant, and like I say, you carry on doing what you're doing because it's really making an impact with a lot of people. Because I've been speaking to people this week. There's a YouTube video that I've just done about a race that I went to yesterday, and I mentioned to a couple of people that you were coming on the podcast, and everybody knows who you are. And everybody was really excited. So a couple of people that I know that are watching on YouTube are saying, "Oh, they're looking forward to watching the video, watching the YouTube, and also listening to the podcast." So massive thank you for coming on.
Yeah.
And like I say, if you're ever up Stokeway, please do drop in, give us a message, and we'll go for a run. Like I say, I'm wearing the top limb. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks.
I don't know why. We are still live on YouTube, but it won't let me stop the recording. It doesn't let me stop. So I don't think it's recording me at all, but hopefully I can get it off YouTube. So I'm going to leave and then come back on.
Okay.
And hopefully I can stop it. I'm going to leave.
So the technology on the podcast, we're zero budget, but Rob is always the editor and Rob is always the producer. So this is all to blame. It's all him. It's all him.
But it's great, isn't it? It's great.
It is
all me.
Oh, you've moved. You've gone that side.
Were you watching that then when I was talking about it?
No. Were you talking about me? I blame
not
him.
At all.
It was good. It was good.
Not at all.
Oh, good. Okay, that's all right then. Right, so I am going to stop recording now. And thank you again. And the people that are on YouTube, thank you for bearing with the chaos that is this podcast. It seems to have got even more chaotic since we started doing lives. So